Hello everyone, welcome to EDUeki Learning channel. Please do subscribe to get more updates on Cloud and DevOps technology stack. In this lecture, I will show you how to create a AWS free tier account. Let me go to Google and search for AWS. I can see that aws.amazon.com, which is the AWS Management Console portal service. Let me click on that. Now let me click on create an AWS account. Let me provide the information. I would like to create an account using my email ID. Let me supply admin@edwiki.in. I'll give the account name as Edwiki Production. Now let me click on verify email address. Now AWS is sending the verification code to the email just to confirm that you are the owner of this email. Let me go and grab the verification code from my email inbox. In my inbox, I can see that the verification code is received. Let me copy the verification code. I will go back to the AWS Management Console account registration process. Let me supply the verification code over there and click on verify. Now let me set the password for the login. Click on continue. There are 5 steps that we need to complete to have the AWS free tier account ready. I don't want to save the password in my browser. Now the next step is to validate the contact information. Now let me fill up this form. I would like to use this AWS account for personal use. I'm not using this for any organization per se. And let me fill up the full name, Edwiki Info Systems, and the phone number that I need to supply. Then you need to specify the billing mailing address here. Once the mailing address is filled, let me click on continue. This is important to understand that though we are creating AWS free tier account, still we need to confirm the billing information. That means you have to provide a credit or debit card information to validate the payment method. AWS is going to charge $1 from your account just to confirm that the provided payment method is validated, and that will be reverted back to your account within 3 to 5 business days. It means that AWS is not going to charge anything to create a AWS account. However, once the account is logged in, if you are using any services which are beyond the AWS free tier terms and conditions, then those services will be chargeable. Sometimes when you are creating the AWS account by doing this payment validation, your card may not be accepted by the AWS. So please do ensure that your card is accepted by the AWS. If still having any issues, do check with your card issuer bank to see why your card is not accepted by the AWS. Sometimes your card may need a international payment method is enabled to have this transaction go smooth. Also note that though you are using debit or a credit card, the monthly invoice will not be deducted automatically. So you don't need to worry that if you are using the credit card here for the validation method. Every month when the invoice is generated, you have to manually go and do the payment by yourself. Well, now let me go and fill up this form to proceed to the next step. I'm going to fill up my information here to have my billing is validated. Well, the contact address can be used as the billing address as well. And regarding the PON, I would say that I do not have a PON. This is an optional choice. Let me go to the next step. Now let me validate my card by supplying the OTP. Let me click on submit. Well, once the payment is validated, now we need to confirm the identity. That is where the AWS is going to text you a SMS or is going to send a voice call. That is where we need to confirm the security check code in the box given here. Let me go ahead with the option text messages, and I'm going to fill up my contact number here to confirm the identity. Well, once I fill up the details, let me proceed with the send SMS. Now let me confirm the verification code. that I have received in my mobile. Now click on continue. This is where AWS is asking some more information like what is the purpose of the account creation. I can see a couple of options in the drop down. You can just select personal use since this account we are going to use for a learning per se. And the ownership will be individual as we are using this AWS account for the individual purpose, not for the specific company per se. Now let me click on continue. It's important to understand that the AWS support plans, though you are creating AWS free tier account and you can use the AWS resources for free for at least for next 12 months period by following the free tier terms and conditions. However, you will not be entitled to get a support from the AWS. It means that if there are some issues that you have done some configuration on the AWS side, you are seeking for a help, the AWS is not going to help you on your bad configuration. AWS is not going to help you on your architectural suggestions until unless you go and get a proper support plan. Here there are three different choices that you can choose. The basic support, which is free, that means AWS is not going to support for any of your configuration if you need any help. However, you can follow the AWS provided blogs and other public information. If you choose a developer support, then the 29 USD per month is the support cost, and you are getting the entitlement to create a ticket with the AWS asking for the help if your services are not working as expected. And with the developer support, 12-hour is the response time. It means that once you have raised a ticket with the AWS asking for help, it is expected that within 12 hours the response will be initiated. And going to the business support, which is 100 USD per month, where 1 hour is the response time, and you will be getting a 24/7 tech support from the AWS side of world using email, phone, as well as a chat. That means if you have any issues with your AWS resources, you can reach out to the AWS support team over the mobile, email, and even the chat as well for the quick response. For now, since we are using this AWS account for the learning purposes, and I need to choose the basic support of free, and of course, if there are some issues, AWS is not going to help you out, but that is fine at this time. In a real time, the support plan could be either developer support or the business, or even it can be a enterprise level support as well if the AWS account is used for the production purposes. Well, let me choose basic support for now and move on to the next step by completing the sign up process. Congratulations, your AWS account is ready. Now let me click on go to the AWS Management Console to get into the AWS console screen. Before that, it is asking some more information, right? So what is the role that you wanted to play in this AWS account? You can choose any option that you like it from this list. I'm just using, let's say, application architect, and I'm interested on DevOps related toolings. Now let me click on submit. Now go to the sign into the console, select root user here and specify the username that you have the email ID that you have used to create a AWS account. In my case, admin@edwiki.in. Now let me supply the password. Here you go. Now I'm successfully logged into the AWS Management Console. The default landing place after the login is called as a Management Console portal. That's it for this lecture. Thank you for your time.